are the ones that make the appointments. And yeah, I think we have two that think we should leave it up to the organizational team, or operating team, excuse me. I keep using different language because we've used so many. I guess operational team is the official one.
I think that would be our preference. And just to clarify, Mr. Chair, so we're going back to 8B to pick up the tourism discussion, and then we're going through the items in the potential addendum. And this is one particular we're focused on.
I think to clarify what Mr. Coleman and I's position is, I think that we're on the same page, that we think the governing body should make the appointments and that they should be a set amount of appointees versus a flexible amount.
Mm-hmm. Per body.
Sure.
At-large members per body.
Right, per body, okay, that's very sure.
And if that is the case, do we want to define those?
Well, we'll have to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So what are your ideas?
Well, I think it should stay with the governing body. I've
Okay.
done that from day one, all of that. Just stay where it's at.
And I'm willing to go along with that, absolutely.
Yeah. I personally think it's, I've been involved with large groups, and I know you get more input and stuff, but I think 7 is a good number myself. I mean, that's just a number in my head. That's a.
The idea was to encourage more involvement since you're doing away with the advisory board.
My only concern is that, and it's really not I'm not that concerned about it, but we have talked about it in the past, in the tourism past, of wanting to make sure there's more elected officials on it than unelected. But that was really at the time when the TC was forming the budget.
And managing it.
So with it being more an advisory board, I don't really see that as a problem. Because you're really looking at a more strategic role than an advisor and than a budget management.
Right.
Our committee had said up to 9 members, so.
Well, I mean, I would even suggest having a couple appointed by the town, a couple by the county, and let the Chamber of Commerce appoint one person. I don't know what that would that be a downside to letting them have one spot like we have had? It gives them a little bit of a voice there, and it's we are sharing office space with them, so I mean, I don't think having some input there would be a bad thing. But I'm not hard and fast on that. That might be a way to make it so that you get that odd number of people on the board.
Right. And then each body
gets an even amount of appointees.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Or you could do it like the PSA. I mean, there's one position that's appointed by both.
Mm-hmm.
And then the others are all appointed individually, each individual body.
I think if we're going that route, if you want to do 2 for each governing body and then one agreed upon by both, I can.
What about this? This might even be a different thing. I'll keep throwing things out.
Sure.
What if we had 2 from each body, so a total of 4 outside elected officials, and then have one that is proposed by the chamber but voted on by both boards, but town and county?
And give them a say.
You don't say, but it also keep.
And you bring a perspective difference there.
It's a different, it's inclusive.
Right.
And we still get to vote on it. We still have a say on this there.
I can live with that also.
I'll shut up.
Stay with the governing body.
Yep.
Is that what you say? Stay with the government body?
I'm saying, my suggestion would be the town and county. Town appoints 2, county appoints 2,
apart from us, apart from the government,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
officials.
then the Chamber of Commerce proposes someone, but the town and county both have to vote on that proposal.
I like that.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah.
It gives us some input, but it also gives us some control.
Because I think everybody should have, good say so, and just not get reiterated. Yeah, I'd go off that.
So with the 2 and 2 and the 1 agreed upon, then that's a 9-member.
Yep, 9-member board.
Or we could do one each from town and county.
No, that's fine. I can live with that. as long
If
as-
it's, because my vision of it, with it being more advisory, is meeting quarterly, probably not.
Correct, that was what I had said, right.
I mean, is that what you kind of thought, Jerry?
Yeah, that's kind of what.
You know, or, you know, as needed or whatever, because being on the advisory body.
6 months, I don't care, but it needs to be looking 2 years down the road rather than what's going on today.
But they are going to be a part of the strategic part of it, so, you know, I wouldn't want to limit them if they felt they needed.
Right, but I think formally you want to meet a certain amount of time.
I think you could say quarterly.
Minimum quarterly and leave it at that. Then if the operation team and them decide they need to be more often, they have the option. Would that be okay?
That's correct. I just didn't want it to be something where, sometimes when you meet monthly, you come up with all kinds of things that you feel like you need to work on, and I don't think that the day-to-day stuff needs to be run by the operations team.
Right. So it's a minimum quarterly, and then as the operation team and director deem necessary, they.
The only deals I've had, the only, I guess, feedback I've ever had for the tourism board is they need to let the people out here in the county know what they're doing. Because I've had 2 people in the last week, they were seeing this come out in the tourism board, wanting to know why we had to have a tourism board. Why was the county giving them all this money? What was they doing for the county? People don't understand what the tourism board is really. I mean, the farther away from town you get, the less they know about it. And they want to know what we're getting for it, money that we put into it.
So what this board is not anymore, this council is an advisory board. What they want to know is what the tourism director's position is going to be doing. And
This board's going to have to clarify that, we need to do more.
well, I think that's where the operations team comes in.
Well, not necessarily, it can be a strategic part of the time.
Well, it can be.
Right, advisory position.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I see this new director being more out there in the community and letting them know what's going on.
I think Pat has worked really hard on trying to
She has,
Oh, she
network
has.
with.
absolutely.
The one thing about Floyd is there are so many different people with so many little businesses. It is hard for one person to network all of those.
They say, well, seem like the only people getting any good out of the tourism board is just the town or just around the edge of town.
And that's what we that's what's got to be communicated.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Because it's not just those.
Right, yeah, but they don't understand that. That's the reason I said I think we need to do a bit more PR or whatever.
Yeah, if I might just share, so, when I came in this morning, I was talking to Pat, and, she actually drew this, like, little diagram about where all the tourism draws are, and of course you can't see that, but, while there is a great deal in the town, it is actually really highly distributed across the county, but to your point, Mr. Chair, I think, like, like all of us that are public servants, right? She does a great job of talking about Floyd, both the town and the county, but she probably doesn't spend a lot of time saying how great a job Pat Sharkey is doing at making sure all of that happens.
And that comes back now, the operation team gets to brag on them as much as possible, and us as elected officials.
Yep.
That's another problem.
Pat's done an outstanding job in that
Oh, yes,
position.
she has.
We would not be successful today.
It's
It
not-
would be just, there have been, restate that. There have been very few people that would be able to network with as she's been able to, and make all these different parts, because you've got so many different types of businesses, and you've got to try to make some of that work together. It's been
I remember when I was on that, when it first started out, we was talking to her, she was like Dr. Millsap, she was full of energy, yeah. And then you could tell she was a go-getter. But that's the trouble of having the county and the town having the same name. When people hear it, Floyd, you know, they're thinking town, they're not hearing the whole.
It goes all the way down to some of the green box issues we've had. There's been a few people that are mad at town, at the mayor and Kayla.
Right.
Green boxes in my district.
Yeah, so you just,
I'm happy to share.
One more. All right, so up to 9, 2 and 2, and one that's agreed on by both groups, recommended by the chamber.
Correct.
All right, in line with that, we had discussed staggered terms on this board, and we were gonna leave that up to the operations. Now that we're doing this way, do we still wanna do that with operation team, or do we wanna
Stagger the terms.
stagger the terms in the agreement?
It's a two-year term on the agreement, so we need to do half of them at 1 year and half of them at 2 years. What I would do.
Well, I was just asking, because I wanted, the operation team needs to know, do they do the staggering, or do we, as the government, part of the agreement?
Well, I think when we make an appointment, we appoint one or the other. So when we appoint 2 of our members onto the tourism council, or whatever it's called, one needs to be for a 2-year term, one's going to be for a
1-year term.
And the same with outside people that we appoint. And back to the chair's point, you know, one of the things that we probably should do is, the town's probably going to appoint 2 people from within the town, so we probably need to be thinking about, you know, if we want other areas of the county represented,
Correct.
thinking about who needs to be on that.
Yeah.
Because that's going to play a big role in focus.
Well, I just brought it up because I know that was part of the discussions on that.
The terms need to follow that.
So basically, we're recommending to the town that, for the town and county to do one of their representatives 2 years and one for 1 year,
And the same with the at-large.
and then that large.
And then the chamber, I mean, you could do the chamber for 2 years. Yeah.
So that needs to be part of the addendum too.
So that's what I was just trying to look up. So there, if I might, Mr. Chair, so I would amend 3B, would say 5 additional at-large members will be appointed to the TDC by, well, just leave it at that. And then say 2 would be, at each jurisdiction would appoint 2 at-large, and they would be on staggered terms to meet quarterly.
Minimum quarter.
Minimum quarterly.
And then the chamber appoints one that has to be approved by both bodies.
Both bodies.
The chamber, but appointed by the chamber, but approved by both bodies.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yes, that sounds
Thank you.
Nominated.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
nominated by the chamber.
Okay.
And agreed to by both bodies.
Does everybody see it?
Yep.
I just noticed something on, and I feel like I know the answer, but could you just clarify number 8, the operating committee versus every other piece is the operating team?
It's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't get I didn't catch it. So they're all supposed to be operating team.
I felt sure, but I just wanted to.
Yep,
Yeah, change that to team.
yep.
And I'll do my best to refer to y'all as the team and not committee.
Could I ask again about F, if we want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
3F. Could we clarify that a little bit, just so that we could at least organize?
Why don't we just let the TDC organize itself through,
Normal procedures.
you know. I mean, I don't want to tell the TDC what they need or want to do, I guess, let them. I mean, they're gonna have to organize with a chairman and a vice chairman, or just a president or vice president, or however.
And if I'm not, when we started this process, we talked about the TDC will have to have its own
Bylaws.
even though they're advisory, they would still have to have their own set of structure, but maybe it not be in this document, because this is really.
Correct.
Well, instead of F, could we just put that the operating team will develop a proposed structures, guidelines of structure and
Parliamentary procedure.
procedures?
Yeah, procedures.
That way, y'all can develop it the way that you want it to work, so that
Okay.
if meetings are, and propose it, the TDC could vote on it, but maybe if we need a certain procedure,
Correct.
if it works best for the team, then let them propose that to the TDC and basically let us adopt that, rather than us come up with our own, which could go down rabbit trails.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion.
Okay, so the operating team is to develop a draft.
The one thing that I will again reiterate is the four of us yesterday wanted to make sure there was no ambiguity as it pertained to this operating. That we want this operating team to know that they are running the show.
Yes.
So I just wanted to clarify that, and we may have overreached, maybe overstepped, but you know, that's why we wanted to come back here. We want to make it clear that this operating team will be in charge of the tourism director and how the TDC will now function in relation to said director. Alright, so now that we're as clear as mud. No, I'm just kidding. We're definitely have more clarity here.
So we're ready for a vote on?
I am.
We drove it all the way around the barn, it's time to put it
Came
in,
into
close
the
it
door.
over.
So I
Okay.
guess, just from a process, we'll vote on it, and if it passes, it'll go to the town for their meeting on.
Yeah. The end of the month.
The end of the month, however,
Yeah.
we did get clarity from their council that we can advertise the position. If we pass it, we can advertise the position and get that rolling. They are.
I'd make a motion that we approve the agreement with the town, joint tourism program, with the amendments that we made today to the proposed addendum to that agreement.
I'll second.
Motion and second, any other discussion?
There's things about it I'm still hesitant about, but I'll trust those that we asked to be a part of drafting this, and with hesitancy, I don't want to be holding up the process, but I have good faith that it'll move forward.
Well, it is a 2-year program, so at that point, I mean, if it's not working, it's not working.
I won't be here.
This is true.
You can come back and stand.
I
Lay into us.
We'll get 3 minutes worth.
Yeah, 3 minutes worth, but 4.
4.
4 minutes, he's got 4 minutes.
Any other comments?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and so I'm just clarifying as we're doing this, that we are passing the agreement is drafted with the addendum and your changes today to be engrossed into a final document, which you are approving, and we'll get our attorney to do that and get it to the town ASAP.
And approving all the signatures needed, authorizing you.
That's
and
what it
the
said.
sheriff to sign. Yes.
And the legalese that the attorney
Yes.
added to the document.
Correct.
Make it more legal.
That's
And that was a motion by Lauren and a second by me.
Okay, thank you all very much. All right, Mr. Yoder.
Yes.
Ms. Kirkland.
Yes?
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. Booth.
Yes,
And Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Okay.
I have one question before we go on. Would the two members that are currently served, because this is all reinventing starting July 1,
Right.
would the two members that are currently serving be willing to continue their service on the board?
I will.
Yeah, I would. If
So
somebody else
some-
wants to.
Either today or we can wait till after
July
the town, at our July meeting,
Right.
we'll need to reappoint our representatives.
Probably wait until our July meeting, that way make sure the town agrees to this.
Yeah,
Or,
which would be July 13th.
When's your-
our June meeting, I think.
Oh, he's saying the June meeting. Oh, you said July.
The town meets on the 17th,
Right,
so
so
we
you're
could.
saying me,
22nd. We'll know if the town approves it.
Yeah.
right.
And then we're gonna have to do some advertising or whatever, and then probably make our appointments at our July meeting.
Yeah, because if we do quarterly, we'll have 3 months to have our first meeting, so, if we could do that, maybe schedule a first meeting for then the last or something.
Yeah, we're,
Because we'll have an operational team, TDC doesn't have to
manage.
meet right away. That's the beauty of it all.
And that's part of the planning, is to work with the operations team to come together about what the TDC's gonna look like.
Yep.
Right.
All right, all of our stuff done for today?
Okay,
I think so.
Okay, well, moving on to easier things, let's talk about approval of the budget.
Yeah, right.
No, Mr. Chair, just to remind you, we can, of course, wherever you'd like to go, but in terms of going back and picking up things we skipped, we are now to 8C. Approve FY22 budget, and then, of course, we have other things after that. Whatever your question is.
Well, I have one question, I just want to make sure we do have this $40,000 contribution in our budget for next year. There it is, yeah. I just want to double check it since we just agreed to put 40,000 in it.
Go ahead.
Lauren's like,
I move that we approve the 2022 budget as presented.
Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion second, any other discussion?
yeah, I would like to say a few things, Chairman. I am not, I was not in favor of a tax increase that we had with this budget. I was not in favor of increasing monies to bring to our stabilization fund and out of the pockets of our hardworking citizens. However, we've worked long and hard on this budget. I think we will need to work even harder next year. And I just wanted that to be put into the record that I was not in favor of the tax increase, but I don't feel that I can look my other supervisors in the eyes and say, well, I'm not going to vote for the budget just because you didn't do it my way. But I did want to go on record as saying I was not in favor of that tax increase. The minimum that we could have done, I was in favor of. So, just so everybody knows that.
I'm never in favor of any tax increase, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Especially as it pertains to core services.
Yep.
And that's where we're at. I mean, there
It is.
is nothing in this budget that is flamboyant. It is to the critical infrastructure and core services of this county that serves every single citizen of Floyd County.
Before you want your statement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the statement be read. He read it. I heard you, Justin.
Well, can I just say too that I think that some of the things that are in this budget, and the reason I voted for tax increase this year was funding economic development, funding a radio system that's going to be used for a generation probably. And there's things in this budget that aren't just for this year. We're doing things that are looking long term, that hopefully, I hope to have grandchildren. I haven't had kids yet, but I hope my grandkids are seeing the benefits from. So I mean, I wholeheartedly support it, and I think the citizens support it because I have not received the first call or message opposing the things that we are working on this year. The increase, the new projects for the radio system, fire truck, ambulance, economic development. I haven't had the first person reach out to me and say, you shouldn't be doing that. And so that's why this year I thought it was really important. I'm really excited that we talked about some of these projects for a long time, and now we're starting to make progress on them. So thank each of the board members and thanks staff for
Hard work.
yes.
You want to say anything?
I think we have a good budget in front of us. I just don't agree with having a stabilization fund and a contingency fund. To me, I know you've got different definitions for them, but to me, they're both the same.
And I honestly, when we first did that, I voted against the budget because I was so convinced it was a bad idea. And I'm not completely opposed to that. There's other things in the budget that I wouldn't necessarily have done myself, but it's a group effort. And so at some point, there's give and take, and there's some things that I wouldn't have voted on budget because of, but I think we've worked through them, so I feel comfortable with it.
Well, that's the only hang up I have in it is that if we didn't have budget stabilization fund and we just put that money in contingency, then I could 100% support it.
If I remember, Mr. Rose one time said that that's one reason we was able to maybe restructure our own or something, because we had that. You remember that? It was a couple of years ago when we was
Refinancing?
Yeah. He said that the bank liked that we had the stabilization fund too. Not saying anything.
No, I understand.
That helped us at that time.
I think it would have helped us just as much if that money had been in contingency. It's the total amount of funding there was the.
I can't remember exactly how he said it, but, because I remember me and you had this discussion when you first come back on the board.
The overall budget are things that, a lot of it in there, you mentioned the communication system, that's things that's been needed doing for 10 years.
That's more.
Or longer. I was on board with a lot of this equipment we're replacing. I helped buy when I was on board in the 90s, so. Yeah, it is very old equipment. It's just about was, and I'll tell you this much, I know we talked about it before, but Fort Worth was instrumental in us getting a system set up that, we traveled this state looking at setups and stuff, and we had neighboring counties that didn't have the people of the caliber of Mr. Wirt that bought systems and then 2 years later had to replace them because they didn't have a fit for their community. And he did a great job. I don't think the system would have lasted as long as it did if it had not been for his diligence in it. But and the school improvements, I've made no bones about where I'm at on that. That will impact generations to come. So.
And I think that what we see here is we have 5, including myself, individuals that all work together to try to figure out a way to make this county the best that it can be. And these, as Supervisor Yoder has said, and as Chairman has said, we are diligent in how we come to this, and we think about each tax dollar and what it's going to be spent on. And this is not an easy process for any of us, and this will be your last budget, Justin. And for this go-round, if you come back and join us again.
For the county, his house still got one.
Yeah, but I just think that it just shows we all come from varying backgrounds, and the way we look at life is different. For the most part, we all come at it, but we're all able to sit down and really work hard at coming together. And I think that there are going to be times when we may not agree on everything, but I think this is a lot of hard work here, and some of it we can't control, and some of it we can. And these changes that are coming to this county are important, and I think will affect the future for, as we've said, at least a generation.
When I first ran, people was all over me. You don't raise taxes, you don't raise taxes. And I said, I'm not going to promise you I will or won't, but I will be accountable for the money that we get. And I think we can justify everything we spend. And I mean, it was a hard year to get it.
Yeah.
Aren't you gonna miss this, Mr. Coleman?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
He may come back, you never know.
The next 40 years?
There has been history that
Yes,
that has been a time or two.
I've been sitting close to Mr. Booth for a
Yes,
while.
you have.
I even heard him say, I have one more thing once or twice.
We in Colorado.
All right, thank you all. So, Mr. Yoder and then Mr. Coleman, correct? Okay. Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenwood?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
And Mr. Tom?
Yes.
All right, that is unanimous. I will work on a document with some of the highlights, and I'll get that to you all to look through. But essentially, some of the main categories, of course, as you all mentioned, was that you all have spent significant additional investment, has been around public safety, the new radio system, the ambulance, the fire truck. In terms of capital, the roof on the courthouse, the library parking lot, solid waste, as you put money into Greenbuck site investment and a new position there, and a number of investments around economic development. Many of them focused on assisting our current businesses, but also trying to expand. And then 2% raises for the employees, 5% is required for the constitutional positions. And put that all together for you all and for something to help summarize it, because it is a very long document. But we will endeavor to send out the document to all the folks, the constitutional officers, etc., post haste, so they can get that as quickly as possible.
And we'll have our little binded version. Thank you, dear.
So thank you.
To add to my file cabinet.
And access to it will be placed on our website.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, we'll put a little executive summary on the top with highlights and the amounts, top level amounts.
And maybe, I don't know how, but maybe we could advertise that website, because even in this time, you'd be surprised how many people that I run into that didn't even realize we had a website with that kind of information on it. So little PR in that area wouldn't hurt at all.
All right, fair enough.
All right. Now we're rolling.
Okay. I think, sure, we completed everything through 9C now, I believe. So now we're down to 9D, approving the budget transfer.
We asked to do it, I don't have any problem making a motion to approve the transfer.
I'll second it. Yeah, they've already done the work.
Not much we can do now.
Right back.
Bring that.
No, please don't.
And I will say the work done is outstanding. I've driven my vehicle up there and kind of walked around up there, and you right there is quite a view.
I walked out to the gate yesterday afternoon at my house and I could see both sides of the.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Yep.
Motion second reading.
Okay. Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Cooperman?
Yes.
Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. D is 9E, Economic Development, New Marketing.
Good afternoon. I hate that I'm standing between y'all and lunch, so,
Oh, we got a couple more.
Well, we put you in that position, so don't feel too bad.
hopefully this will be fun for you while Council's getting that set up. I'll just say thank you all for your hard work on the budget and your support for economic development very much. And for the new appointment of the EDA member, we'll put her to work Monday. Is this off?
I can't hardly hear
Yeah,
you.
you can.
Okay.
But it hasn't worked all morning.
Yep, I don't know.
Is it all?
We keep changing batteries and still,
Maybe a little of the budget stabilization fund can go to
Testing, testing.
microphones and stuff.
Okay, I'll just try to shout. Again, thank you all for your work, for your support for economic development. We'll put Ms. Cox to work on Monday for her first EDA meeting, so that will be quick. So I just wanted to share with you all, we're very excited to be rolling out the new website today with you all for economic development. It has a lot of new features and support that we've worked quite hard on. So I prepared some comments. Let me put those right. So for a couple of decades now, Floyd County's really been known for music and the arts and natural beauty. And as you all know, a few years ago when we did our new logo, we said we really want to expand what Floyd is known for, because we're a lot more than those things. Those are wonderful things, but we're a lot more than that. And so we did the new logo. We've given a lot more attention to agriculture and forestry, you know, with our Floyd drone projects. On the tourism side, Pat has focused a lot more on outdoor recreation and kind of broadening the scope there. We have an amazing story to tell that centers around entrepreneurship, craftsmanship, and innovation. So you're going to see that in the new website and some things that we're going to share right now. So today we're launching this website, yesfloydva.org. It's the same address, it's just all new content. And to begin telling that broader story, so let's take a look at the opening video on the website first.
Floyd, Virginia is a one-of-a-kind place, home to farmers, craftsmen, creatives, and innovators. Floyd has been exporting unique, high-quality goods and artisan traditions for generations.
We manufacture most of our product right here in the Floyd Innovation Center. We ship to 9 countries worldwide, and our business keeps growing.
The Floyd Innovation Center supports business growth through leasable office and production spaces, conference rooms, and training programs with engagement for entrepreneurs at all levels.
A community like this supports its local businesses and came out aggressively to show us that they wanted us to exist.
Floyd offers a global artistic reach, a close-knit, family-friendly community, and scenic inspiration around every bend. With world-class digital connectivity, about 60% of Floyd County businesses and homes have gigabit fiber internet. By 2021, it will be 95%. This combination of exceptional connectivity, established business-friendly infrastructure, and global name recognition allow this inventive community to prosper. It's a hands-on community, and all of our educational experiences prioritize experiential learning.
We're learning out in the world, and we're going on trips, and we're doing community service.
Surrounding Floyd, we have Virginia Tech, Radford University, River Community College.
There's new people, there's new skills coming out of our high schools, community colleges, and colleges really help us stay on the leading edge.
Floyd's unique skill sets and innovative efforts are supported by training opportunities, such as those offered by the county's career and technical education programs. This local balance of entrepreneurial spirit and proactive business resourcing provides real tangible opportunity for new and existing companies who are looking to grow.
We employ a wide range of people from many places. We have employees that grew up here. We have employees that are from India, China, Europe.
The employees that we've got working for us are a great crew, proud of what they do. They know that they're doing stuff that nobody else in the universe is doing that day.
This place attracts special people who want to lean in, to create, to contribute, and to give back.
You know, everybody's got a very interesting story about how they ended up in Floyd. I just fell in love with the quaintness and how small it was, and I just thought what a wonderful place to raise our kids.
I think the company planted roots here because of the hardworking mentality of the community. It's a very open community. It kind of welcomes people in.
For a small town, there is a lot to do here.
We've got a lot of the traditional Appalachian culture, arts. There's everything from hiking, Floyd Fest, their yoga jams. If you're looking for a safe, family-friendly environment, you can't do much better than Floyd.
It's just a place where you can kind of clear your thoughts, get in touch with your creativity. There's a lot of southern hospitality that is just naturally inherent in these mountains.
We love it, and we're not planning on moving. I hope you'll join us here at Floyd.
So that was all filmed prior to COVID, but we didn't roll any of it out because, of course, all the world was not paying attention. Plus, it gave us time to get the website up to date. We won't go through all the web pages today, but suffice it to say, on that main website, there's sections about what the advantages of Floyd are, what the key industries are here, what living here is like, what career opportunities there are here, and so a wide range of resources that we'll be pushing out. I also wanted to share, thanks to the partnership with the Tobacco Commission, some funding from them and matching funds from you all, we're also launching today a metalworking campaign, and that's really a celebration and promotion of the metalworking cluster of businesses that we have here that we've all been working hard on these last few years, and we now have a nice cluster of those businesses. So we want to tell this story to welcome other businesses and to welcome talent. So check out this little video.
So we go into a facility, we can reverse engineer through 3D scanning and design a material handling system to fit into the area that they have. We fabricate that entity and we install that entity. We do a lot of industrial maintenance, general construction. We're kind of a one-stop shop. We do a wide variety of machine parts here at Floyd Custom. A lot of fixturing, tooling, machines.
So light bulbs. We make very high-end lights. People who represent the most powerful institutions in the world are looking for high-quality lights to come to Floyd, Virginia.
Of all the companies that I compete with, I've never seen one that gets to do this number of special projects.
We've got a series of customers, and whatever they want done, we're their little handyman. So we design it, we build it, we put it in, and make it work.
We've been able to provide custom solutions for BAE systems in Radford Arsenal. We really filled a niche over there that I think they were really looking for.
We have people come to us with theories, with designs that they would like to automate. Most people does not know that anything automated like this is built in Floyd County.
A lot of the customers love is going from napkin sketch, I have an idea, I couldn't find what I wanted in the catalog, and I got to what I wanted because they walked me through every step of the way, mixed with some Appalachian charm, certainly doesn't hurt.
There's good people in Floyd County, good workers, good craftsmen. Growing up in rural Floyd County, everybody's done a little bit something different, whether it be woodworking or working on equipment when they were young or farming. A lot of individuals from this area, they like to build stuff, and we like to build stuff. So we found that their skill sets and our skill sets mesh well together.
The thing that's special is the fact that these people take pride in what they're doing.
Floyd County has a good pool of skilled labor. I really appreciate the county putting the time and the effort into training people for jobs like this.
Great job.
And the next one is talking a little bit more about those learning opportunities in our youth.
The medical program at Floyd County High School has been there for about 22 years. It's become very popular. When I started 20 years ago, I had 6 students. I would say in the last 20 years, there's been 500 to 600 students to graduate. I think the work ethic of the children in Floyd County has helped develop such a successful welding program because they have been taught work ethic long before they get to me. And in a small rural area, they come in wanting to learn and ready to work.
I'm in the welding program, and I've taken numerous engineering kind of hands-on classes while I've been there.
Art welding is something that's really cool, and I find it very fascinating. It definitely opens up more opportunities for me to be more hands-on with my work and what I'm trying to build.
When our students graduate, we would like for them to have industry certifications, and on top of that, to have welding certifications that will carry on to manufacturing if they so choose to go into welding.
I have an internship at Thomas Fab, and after high school, I probably work here for a little bit, and maybe go to a trade school. I currently have an internship at Benchmark Construction right now. Jared Cox, my boss, said he needed some help, so I went there and helped him. I really like it.
We've got 2 high school kids working with us right now. I try to give them opportunities to work on specialty projects and different things. You've got opportunities in and around the New River Valley that know about this program.
I come from Floyd County, lived here my whole life, went through Doug's welding program. I'm a current student at Virginia Tech for mechanical engineering. The welding program is one of the biggest factors that got me my internship here at Thomas Industrial. All of that stuff down in the shop, that is highly desirable knowledge for an engineer to have. If an engineer doesn't know what's going on in the shop, he can't design parts for people to make in the shop. It's a very cohesive relationship that a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people see it as white collar, blue collar, but they both have to work under the same roof.
Looking down the road, we're real excited. Right now, as we speak, we have installed footers up there to build a whole brand new welding lab and some other labs as well. Square footage is going to be more so we can expand. We've got a lot of good things coming.
That young man's going far.
I just reckon most of those have been kids that I've dealt with somewhere in the years. That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
A couple of them were pretty wild at one time. That's impressive. They're racing dirt bikes over my farm.
Yeah. Whatever you know, you can't share.
Yeah, he's
The last video that we'll share, just want to preface it by saying 7 years ago this spring we started the Floyd C4 Business Development Series, and we started with an innovation seminar, and we had 2 guys, Tim Akers and Kenneth King, who wanted to start a custom machine shop.
Right.
And then we also had John Robertson, who's a biomechanical engineer at Tech, who's got all these ideas he's always coming up with. And so they met there. And so you might be interested to see this little video shows them working together a little bit.
We do a wide variety of machine parts here at Floyd Custom. We do a lot of fixturing, tooling, machines. We do a lot of high precision parts that are a thousandths of an inch or less tolerance. Here in Florida, we work with several of the businesses, with Jerry Cox of Benchmark Builders, actually work with HB, a good deal. They'll come with problems and we offer solutions.
We came to Tim and we said, Tim, we need to do a total redesign on this system because we want to do automated molecular urinalysis.
Through their work, they were very precise, translating the information we provided into real work that generates results.
We started developing version 2 and it's now ready to go for commercial validation. And it's because we've got the expertise from the machine shop and from Tim and Kenneth and from Amber that translated this very quickly from an idea into a reality that we can deploy. If I had not taken the time to come in and talk to these guys, nothing like this would have been a reality.
you go.
Pretty cool. I hope y'all feel good about that.
Absolutely.
A lot of good things happening around the community with all this. So that machine shop is an incredible resource for this county. They can do things for other businesses, and I really want to get the word out on that. They're super busy already, but they really bring together entrepreneurship, craftsmanship, and innovation. They're kind of like a nice poster child there. We're going to be launching this we're going to do some targeted mailings to businesses, obviously beyond the state. We're going to be doing some calls, hopefully some visits. And I also wanted to share with you the brochure. This is not the professionally printed copy. This is just off the printer here this morning, but just so you'll kind of have an idea. Absolutely. Of that. And beyond that, beyond this, we've also got 10. Oh, we're short. Okay. Sorry about that. We'll also be, we have 10 more videos on entrepreneurship featuring different facets of the community that we will roll out, but we're going to focus on metalworking first, and then in a couple of months we'll be doing that. So if you would, those of you on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, will be sharing these. If you would like them when you see them, and share them if you're comfortable sharing them, because that's the game. That's the game of getting it to show up more is for people to share it. So anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have on any of this.
I just want to say thank you for the effort by the whole team and yourself especially that have been put into this.
Sure. Well, it's definitely been a team effort. Tabitha's been instrumental in this, and the website we had to create twice because we lost the content in the incident last year, so it was much more painful to create the second time. But anyway, we're very excited to have it out. So thank you all again for all of your support, and let me know if you have any questions.
Great job. Great job. It's even there. It's official.
When I can take a picture of it with my phone, I'll really be tickled.
On that point, I met with the contractor yesterday, and if he places the order for the building next week, he thinks it's going to be January before the metal can come in, and so he will back up about 4 to 4.5 months from when he knows the building will be ready for him to start the site work, because obviously he doesn't want to mobilize twice.
Sure.
But he thinks, even with that January delivery date that he's anticipating, that our overall timeline stays the same, so we should be finished by October 2022. So just to keep you up to date on that, I'm hearing you.
And so well, I may not be here in this seat, but I will take a picture of it whenever it gets done, so.
Thank you all.
All right. Great work.
Good evening. We're very fortunate to have this.
Eye opener right there. It's everything in perspective.
As a fellow that's dealt with architects in the construction firm, that's why I said what I did about that young man there. He is it on both ends.
Yep.
I've always said engineers, architects, and all should have hands-on experience for about 5 years before they enter into the design part. But
Must be jealous as young people that got it when I didn't have it.
But you guys should feel good about that. You're putting these opportunities out there for them, and they're embracing them. So you should feel very good about that.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I think we have just a couple of things left on the list. The next item is 9F, other, titling to Floyd County Board of Supervisors, a vehicle donated by Montgomery County to Floyd County Volunteer Fire Department, Station Number 3, but not having that vehicle as a part of the County Equipment Replacement Committee evaluations. This is a consensus item. And you'll see in your packet, this was something that evolved the other day when I was out, but between Cindy and Kevin, they worked really hard to, I think, get this aligned in a way that they both feel is appropriate. And Tommy is, of course, the person who, Tommy Sowers is the person who submitted it.
I guess even though from the equipment committee perspective, we didn't gather this year. You know, I think it's great, and I think it's a good opportunity to receive this. Just with my perspective as being a part of the equipment committee would be that we are not setting a precedence that this could be expected for our equipment committee to grow to provide multiple vehicles as a personnel vehicle as well as a chief vehicle. I don't think that that's the precedence currently that the equipment committee has.
Correct.
Well, and I was going to, as part of that committee as well, do we have other vehicles already in this kind of situation that is not included in that?
That was what my question was going to be. Station 1 has an additional vehicle, but how do we handle that? Do we provide the...
Oh, yeah. You going where I was going.
Oh,
You
yeah.
go right ahead.
Do we provide the insurance and stuff for both vehicles, or is that handed off to the fire?
Station 1 has a vehicle that was, I think originally, maybe either building inspections or EMS is given to the sheriff's office, and then from the sheriff's office to Station 1 Fire. Yes, and it is titled to the Board of Supervisors, and through the fire department pays the insurance and normal gas and oil and things, and then requests reimbursement through their operations line here. And then when this one came up, Kevin Sowers is the one who said, we don't want to get into a position where we're expected to one day replace these vehicles that we never bought originally.
Right.
So what this top letter does is reaching an understanding with the fire department that yes, we will allow these vehicles to be on the Board of Supervisors inventory. Yes, it could be covered by the insurance and regular gas, oil, maintenance, that kind of thing. They can request for reimbursement through their operations line. However, it will not be part of what the evaluation committee looks at every year, and therefore will not be something that the county will be replacing. We will totally not even consider it part of the fleet, and if there is something major that goes wrong with it, they either need to come up with the repairs themselves or just park it. And then give it to us because it will be on our equipment to sell. So that was the understanding that evolved after Kevin got involved.
So are there any other chief vehicles in our fleet that the county fire departments have?
Each station has
Each station has a chief vehicle.
So I guess where I was going in the long term was when the equipment committee goes back out to evaluate next year, they'll be evaluating the new chief's vehicle, and the old chief's vehicle that goes to support will be considered replaced at that point.
They would be evaluating anything that has been purchased, but not any of this donated equipment.
So the donated equipment will not count toward what this board's obligated to replace.
And the evaluation committee would not be.
So the evaluating committee could look at the support vehicle and say it needs to be replaced, we gotta buy one. Meanwhile, there's another one there that's capable, but because we bought it, we can't consider it as replaced. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe this will help clean up what you're saying, perhaps, maybe not. I guess I'm kind of struck a little bit, again, I'm thankful to receive, and I'll be clear about that, I think it's a great opportunity. I guess I struggle with not evaluating it on the basis that we're still not, the board, the county would still be providing maintenance and insurance. I think there's still that diligence to make sure that things are upkept, things have been kept up, things are in decent in order.
Right.
Because we do that with, when you go to the volunteers and rescue squad and they purchase or gift their equipment. So I'm not sure entirely that it's much different. Hold that responsibility for the equipment committee, but also with the expression that this is not inducting a new line of vehicle that the county would be incorporating in future purposes. Is that kind of what you're, get to what you're saying?
Yeah, because if we're titling in our name,
Accountability.
there's a certain amount, I mean, you know, if it's about to fall into, if we look underneath it, the frame's rusted into, we're gonna say, I'm sorry, you can't drive the vehicle anymore because our name's on the title, you know. At some point, I think it'd be good for us to look at everything that's titled in our name.
We look at everything, it's volunteer.
But the flip side of that is, once it's done, then you don't want to have to replace two at Check and one in Indian Valley.
Just for me, if we could strike that balance of saying, hey, we still feel the need to inspect it, but understand as it's already been relayed, the only difference is we're going to expect it and don't expect, you know, for now, as long as I'm a part of it to be replaced.
What has happened with the big trucks is we had two main trucks and then a reserve truck essentially. So like at Station 3, that would be the new tanker that we bought in the last 5 years, and Wagon 3 would be the first two trucks, and Tanker 3 has been put in as a reserve truck. Tanker 3 was essentially replaced, Tanker 32 essentially replaced Tanker 3, but Tanker 3 is still in the fleet. And I wonder if we could always do that with the chief's vehicles, where we have a reserve, it's considered reserve, but it's no longer, it's been replaced, but it's still in the run order.
As long as the condition of it is
warranted.
More, I don't know, I mean, we just need to be careful with that. I'm fine with taking it, I think.
I'm fine with taking it too. I'm just, I think it's more to the liability issue than anything, and plus want to make sure they have safe vehicles. I think that it stays in the, as far as inspections, when the committee looks at it. But as far as that being listed as a replacement vehicle,
you still only get one chief's vehicle.
That's it, one chief's vehicle.
Right.
There you go. That's it.
Right.
We're happy to support the support vehicle, but you get one chief's vehicle.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like it's unreasonable to ask that it can be continued or would be inspected if you know, the county's funding the operations and the maintenance for it. And, you know, as a volunteer rescue department, it will inspect a lot of their equipment.
Yeah. It's not talking about
And it's not talking about our name, so I feel like it needs to be.
Some of it,
it's equal.
Right. So we can iron that out, you know.
I think you're right, there's equipment they buy that isn't titled in the county's name.
Right.
Right.
But still comes up
But
with
still, you
the
just
process.
Absolutely.
That's good.
If I have this corrected, we're okay with taking it and titling from the Board of Supervisors. And
Excited about it.
okay
Yeah.
with inspecting it as part of the evaluation, but the county will only provide replacement for one chief vehicle.
Yeah. As a recommendation by the equipment committee, I think is how that would go. Yeah. And or maybe we want to expect it on.
Well, it's titled in our name.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I do think it's important that it's the same with the buildings. I think part of what we're doing through the equipment committee, not officially, but by going in and inspecting the vehicles, you're also kind of looking at the shape of the buildings and how they're maintained. And so that's a really good thing too.
Yeah.
And they gave it the Station 4 rescue building, they were telling us what was wrong with it and what was needed doing, what they was proceeding to do, and you know, I think it was good for us to have that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the one right before you came on, Chairman Trevor was there. We fixed the doors at Indian Valley when snow was blowing in.
That's
Yeah, that was a result. From best I remember, yeah, we seen it firsthand this when we were doing the equipment evaluation.
So we've seen some shoddy wiring in a lot of places that redone, it was a danger.
Right.
As much as a fight as it was when we first started this, I don't know, I guess it was just you and I when this started. It was quite the adventure to finally get that committee formed, but I think it's been a positive thing.
Absolutely.
I think it's been good for the fire department. They've gotten equipment because of this question. It's been good for us because we've learned about what they've been using, so I think it's been a positive thing for
And
us.
I think same for the rescue squad, just like the fire department.
It's a learning experience for everybody.
I think, you know, it was something new, and anything new always gets a little, but I think once everybody realized what was going on and what the intent.
We weren't trying to have a gotcha moment, we were just trying to figure out
what needed.
We wanted to be accountable to our taxpayers while giving them an opportunity to show what they can do.
And then I think they all finally understood that, and
I could show you some emails that.
I don't remember any crosswords or anything on our, you know, everybody, in fact, down at Station 4, they were out in force down there to
That's
welcome.
That's great.
Yeah. We got to see a lot of the tools that the county had purchased with the help of various aids and fire funds and things. Yeah, it was great. It's just a great collaborative effort to be able to see firsthand.
Yeah, so till we got this started, every year, budget time, everybody wants something. Everybody. We need a new ambulance, we need a fire truck, we need this, we need that. Once we got this up and running, now.
Much more efficient.
Yeah, and we know what they need. And when they come in and ask for it, it makes it easier for us.
And you got things on the cycle. As long as whoever's sitting here keeps that cycle going as best they can. I mean, I remember when we purchased 4 brush trucks at one time, that was, you know, that's probably one of the least costly vehicles besides the chief's vehicle, but still, it was a strain on us to come up for, you know, all 4 of them at one time.
It's just like the battery powered jaws. You know, I had helped work wrecks and stuff in the past and seen them dragging these, you know, jaws out and everything. Once Tony showed us, or not Tony, somebody showed us what them battery powered jaws was like. It made it easier for us to vote to stick our neck out and buy some of them.
Yeah, I think I used them on a fire training over in Radford somewhere. Came back and said, that's the trick right there. Because in the past the batteries would die, but they finally got the batteries worked out, and boy, that was, I mean, I don't know how many times I've start the generator on a crash truck and then start dragging hoses to the hydraulic hoses to get down to the car down over the pipe.
That was one of the best purchases y'all ever made.
That was an excellent purchase because
they're on each fire truck, when they roll up to the scene, they can already start before the rescue.
They do rectification before rescue gets there sometimes. And we're running, if you look at the call volume, fire is running more and more wrecks versus house fires.
Yeah, they definitely are. Yep.
I guess one thing we need is a consensus on that. And I guess we got a consensus.
Our consent as amended.
As
amended.
All right. Everything. So the last.
Our favorite subject coming up.
Our favorite subject.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I seen something the other day and I started sending it to y'all, and I thought I just went, but this was a quote from a forest ranger in Yosemite National Park, and why it is hard to design the perfect garbage bin to keep bears from breaking into it. There is considerable overlap between the intelligence of the smartest bear and the dumbest tourist.
I saw that. I wanted to repost that so bad, but didn't.
Yeah, he's back up on that fence,
You're on
folks,
that
isn't
sharp
he?
fence post.
He put himself there this time, didn't he?
Instead of reposting it, he just broadcast
Because my son Sunday worked selective enforcement on this, and he came back and he said, I need to do something down in Charlottesville, man. I said, don't you start. I said, we done heard that. I said, it's in the works. I said, yeah.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Nobody's seen a greenhouse. So, well, if I might, Mr. Chair, so for my report, since you started there. Funny. As you know, and the signs I think will go up today or tomorrow morning, we've gone ahead and pulled the boxes up on the ridge. But we did put up signs that they were pulled temporarily, and that they should go ahead and hopefully please take their waste to 221 and Hummingbird or to Rescue 3. We wanted to, and at their request, recognize that there are some very kind neighbors and volunteers at the other box nearby, and they go out every day and clean up. And it's really more of a neighborhood box than a bigger box. So ask people to go down the hill. We'll see how that works, but we tried. In addition to that, and I put in my note to y'all that I did talk to the property owner. He reminded me that he has had that property for county use since the 1970s, and would be happy to continue to let us use it and let us put some of the new boxes up there when they come in, hopefully towards the end of the month is where we're kind of looking at now. At least that's the report from the vendor. It all has to do with the steel shortage, and we'll see how that goes. But I think I also noted he said he would let his neighbors know that basically we were going to try a new bear intelligence system, that these were new bear puzzles. No one had any faith that the bears would actually stay away. But that maybe this would we could help give them a little additional intellectual stimulation for at least a while. We thought we would do that. Beyond that, the solid Cheryl came by this morning and left numbers for what we're seeing with the extended hour, the shifted hours. And we continue to have extremely little activity. So, for instance, May 18th, 3 people with trash, 1 with tires, 0 with recycles. May 20th, 4 people with trash, 0 with tires, 0 with recyclable. Most of them are those type numbers. And so we've been asking them to keep track of how many people are coming. So they just want to make sure you all were aware. Pretty soon we're going to have to make a decision if we're going to keep those hours, change them to something else. Our permit from DEQ, I believe, extends another week or 2 to maybe 2 weeks for those temporary hour shifts. So we'll need to think about that a little bit more. And of course, if you decide to keep them, then we will continue to do our best to advertise more on social media and ask that you would help us do that. But that's where that is. I'm not asking you necessarily to make a decision today unless you would like to, but.
By way of advertising, it just occurred to me, maybe with the posters that we have on the green box, maybe on each green box, if we could come up with some type of brief signage that says, you may dump these excluded items here at this time, at the site, at a location or two, your several locations. Need to dump tires, trash, mattresses, dump here these hours at each location.
Promoting the fact that the transfer station is open at these hours for these items.
Are you perhaps, I guess we would probably need an understanding if we intend to keep those extended hours.
Yeah.
If we were to expend money to do that, which it would take obviously to put some signage up, but I think to get that out, to get the message out, put it where the problem is.
Right.
Put it where the problem is. Problems with the boxes. Tell them what the hours are. This is where you can.
These are the hours at the transfer station.
Yep, transfer station.
That's a good idea.
Good idea.
Want to dump couch, trash, tires, come here in today's hours.
Yep,
It doesn't have to be, really, we got the statutes cited. Most people are not going to stand there. Whereas unto thee, that's difficult.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Well,
Okay.
I think, just my opinion, I think we should continue with the hours as we've set them up. And it takes time for change in Floyd County.
Sure.
And,
really.
well, and we'll admit, even for the five of us sitting here, we have trouble with change, so, or I do anyway, but I just ask staff to bear with us, and I think we should go ahead and apply for the times myself.
I agree.
I agree.
And, because we're doing this for the citizens, to give them, well, it's twofold. We are doing it for staff too, because if we can get the citizens to bringing stuff to the transfer station, then we're not having to have drivers get out and move stuff to dump the box. We're not having to send a truck and two people back to lift
Couches
sofas and,
mattresses.
you know, if we can get the people on board with it, I think in the long run it'll be better.
There's still a lot of people out in the county that don't know that transfer stations change drivers.
Yeah.
I still encounter people that don't even know it exists.
Yeah. Don't have a transfer station, yeah.
Oh, where can I take it?
Where is it? Where,
Yeah.
I don't mean that, that's the truth.
Yeah.
It is.
Fair enough.
and a lot of them I run into, they know that where the animal shelter is, but they don't realize what the rest of that site is.
You know, the justice point, we just had a big sign at each location. It just said, transfer station.
Hours and.
Yeah, and hours, and tell them where it's at, you know.
And I run into people come from out of county to unload truckloads of junk that can't read the signs that are on it now. And you point it out to them, and they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if make it kind of a modern approach. You need to dump tires, need to dump couches.
Take them to the
It's like I said earlier about these road signs.
Yeah.
You put all the signs out there you want until somebody starts reading it, they'll get it.
Yeah.
It's like you put the fine print on bold.
The only thing that seems to work is selective enforcement, because that word gets, boy, everybody talks about it for a little bit.
Well, you hit the pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And they tell everybody about it, and then it kind of seems to work for a little bit, and people get it. It's
Yeah.
like,
My bad day was working this Sunday because I was moving my equipment off the Buffalo Mountain Road before I got blocked in, you know. I mean, it, just in between trips, I mean, the boxes was overflowing. Of course, I think they made a believer out of what passed me on Buffalo Mountain Road, because when I got over there, they was talking to him, and he had carpet and subfloor, and I think he was one of our Carroll County residents.
I got a double whammy.
Yeah, he had to take it back.
So we made, I mean, our hours.
I'm perfectly fine if you need a forward action. I'm prepared to make that.
And you know, later on, you know, if you don't improve or something like that, we can always go back.
Ask her to change it.
More
The temporary permit allowance is going to run out here soon.
Well, we have approved an additional person. One of the reasons that I voted for that was to get them on board.
Correct, same here.
Absolutely.
And to have people on site
Right.
and not be equipment sitting around with nobody.
So,
Okay,
there you go.
there you go. That sounded pretty substantial.
Yeah, consensus is
Can you expand the permit without a vote, or can you do it by consensus? I think if we're changing that, we're going to change the permit, we'd actually have to vote on it.
Yeah,
Well, should we be safe and have you go ahead and
It
vote on
might
it
be-
just in case?
When does that have to be done?
Yeah.
I think it's probably they're gonna ask me about it within a week, so,
And that'll be before our next meeting.
yeah.
yeah.
No safety, sorry. I'm taking a motion from that.
I'll make a motion that we continue our extended hours at the landfill and make sure that staff is there for the foreseeable future, I guess. Do you have a date that you have to do it by, or do we just change our hours?
Well, basically,
It'll be changing the hours, right?
basically authorizing her to, put in
Petition
the
the
request.
DEQ, right.
Yeah, the request for permanent hours as we have them now, or
Correct.
something like that.
The current hours that we have, and put in that request to the Department of Environmental Quality.
And
And
say
sign-
transfer station.
Transfer station, yeah. And, how you sign all the appropriate documents.
You want that motion shout back?
Sorry, yeah. Second.
No.
Yeah, you still use it.
Can you read the motion? I'm just joking. I was just waiting to do that to you.
Do you want me to try?
I'm just.
Nah, you got it.
I'm just
Okay. All right, who's cooking then?
Yeah.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes,
And Mr. Turner?
Yes.
All right, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
and for your information, one of my questions is we are looking at having hopefully the bear boxes sometime within a month or so.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she keeps calling and checking and following up with them. We ordered 8 to test them out, so we could put them in multiple different places and see how it goes. And in addition to that, of course, the folks up at the mill of order, they're gonna order their own and try a different one and see if that works. They're gonna use one, what is it?
Oh, right,
Avery
Avery Mill.
And see which one works the best and.
We also got I think you passed along the information on maybe a different kind that Franklin County used.
Yeah.
Did you
get that
Yeah, I got that email from Shannon. I think I forwarded it. If I haven't, I'll make sure to
But
to do
they're
that.
spring loaded somehow, the doors are, so they.
I'm pretty sure I forwarded it.
Close and lock on their own, you don't have to slide them, I think.
Well, I think you have to do a latch and then,
You know, what I understood there, you unlatch them and pull it open, but think of when you turn loose of them, they go back
They
and
go
latch
back and latch.
on their own.
don't stick your head in to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, another version that we can,
Yeah.
I may stop and check on them sometime when I'm in Franklin.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
And I've noticed the
I
same
know that.
thing, I drive by it at least twice a month, probably going down there, and it has gotten a lot cleaner than it was, so. I actually thought about it one day when I drove by, I thought, wow, they've really cleaned that site up, but it may just be that.
Oh, down there in Franklin?
Yeah, down before you get to Callaway.
Algoma?
If I may, while we're on the green box sites, I've had calls. I know they went out and worked on certain sites, and I know they're doing all they can up there, but if they could get out and work on some of these green box sites as far as filling holes and that kind of stuff,
Now you've put money in your budget to do that, so
Yeah.
we will be.
So it's an ongoing thing. I know they address some of them, and I think some of those need readdressing, or touch up, but we need to, especially the ones that was relayed to me were the ones that just have the green boxes. It seems like most of the green box recycling ones are, I don't get much complaints on, but the ones that just have.
Which is also kind of a commuter lot.
What?
Yeah.
At your place?
And I don't know, like this one out here on Route 8, that's on the state right away there. We can only, maybe talk to David and see if they could do something on a big portion of theirs the next time they had a piece of equipment going by. And we could do ours right around the green boxes, when we're on the state right away, it's kind of hard for, that's a large pull-in area there.
I just want to express my appreciation for the amount of work you've done on especially that one particular site in my district, but several others as well. There would be a problem, and within just a few hours you would be contacting me and talking through some of the situations, emailing constituents, trying to talk through the solutions. So Thank you. I mean, that really appreciate it, because I mean, it's a big deal for some folks that are live near door and have bears that are causing problems. And I really hope that by pulling these green boxes for a month, maybe that'll lessen the pressure on the site. And when we put the bear boxes in, maybe it won't be as quite as, that gap might help us a little bit there, I don't know, but thank you.
I saw what some of the neighbors had to say too.
That's not the private messages I got.
Well, I know, I just seen the public ones.
We're still expecting the fence installation to be within this month for the Indian Valley site. No update on that.
They haven't changed anything. The first one is no, that's not gonna work. So if I find out otherwise, then we'll let you all know.
Maybe let's go on have our first lunch in Indian Valley and we grab by and take a look at that site. In the air conditioning cafeteria.
Okay, sorry.
Children's fencing.
Children's fencing. All right. So that's, anyway, so we pulled those and the sign will be, I just made it yesterday and sent it to them. So they'll probably take it out either later today or tomorrow. Put some signs on the trees there that says where the nearby places were, because I know that's been an issue in some other places. So we will keep working and we'll move towards
the movement of the bears.
Yes.
All of a sudden we start seeing them over
Laura,
just that whole, you know how bears roll.
Yep, and by the way, the gentleman that owns that property said he has many times seen the bears open those doors. So he found our signs kind of amusing, actually, the old ones. But he said he was ready to help.
I just appreciate it. I mean, as big as that was there,
that he's continuing.
It was one of the most entertaining and insightful calls I have. He's a very nice gentleman. I'll put it that way. Excuse me, Parks and Rec. I know there are some other issues, but I wanted to let you know Jacob has given me his end of season report. And so a couple of the highlights I wanted to give you there is for the basketball, softball, CP, T-ball combined, there were 241 young athletes and over 50 coaches who participated in the spring ball season. And he says, to his knowledge, this was the most kids we have had to participate in many, many years. There were 17 teams overall, and he gave you the breakout. And also a number of new coaches. Those 17 teams played over 200 games throughout the 7 weeks of the regular season. And of course he continues to talk about as well that we continue to have a lack of field space pressure and some of the modifications that had to be made because of that. It's a very long explanation, so I will send this to you all as well. And also that creates difficulty with practice time. On concessions, the update on concession is, as you know, we went out twice with an RFP to get someone for concessions, no response, and then we had someone that we were going to get us, we were in the process of getting a ServSafe certification, and apparently the timing has not worked well, so that person is still in process. So in the interim, I went ahead and said that a local family could sell their prepackaged food and drink at the park outside of the concessions and those kind of things. I hope you didn't hear that. But they're following the Safe Serve guidelines for just the last few weeks, and then over the summer, the gentleman was going to be doing the concessions, will be working a hot concession stand ready to go, and that they're in the process of updating and replacing some of the very old and outdated and dysfunctional equipment in the concession stands to meet current requirements. Concession stand singular, sorry. And then in terms of facilities upkeep, he said he was very grateful to have Chris. Chris works generally 10 to 4 most days because he's capped currently as a part-time employee at 29 hours. And he has included what Chris's checklist is, which I asked him to put together a checklist for Chris and so it has a series of monthly things, weekly things, and daily things, as well as things whenever the tournament or shelter reservation is received. And some of the daily things does include replenishing and inspecting and cleaning up the bathrooms, which I know has been an issue, and removing all the trash daily, and clean bases, remove dragging, those kind of things in line the field. That, of course, is at the main facility. And we still have some things that need to be done, and I know there's some other issues, but wanted to give you that high level. He's put out a Survey Monkey that I think went out, Survey Monkey survey, that went out yesterday to coaches and family members. So looking forward to see all that we learned from that, and then we can go from there. I know it's been challenging, both from a family and coaching perspective and from a staff perspective. And so we still have a lot to learn and a lot of things to keep moving forward on. But that's kind of your current update, and I appreciate that Jake has been trying to really get focused on a lot of those things, so I appreciate that.
I gave you my concerns. I relayed what had been given to me from citizens, and hopefully eventually it'll jive out with the checklist.
Yes, thank you. Yes, there continues to be some challenges about scheduling, some of which is under our control, some of which is not. We are trying to continue to develop better ways to notice people of any changes, some of those kind of things, and do some other follow-up items. But we have, Jacob and I have talked, and he's going to be focusing primarily on improving the programs we have and not expanding, even though there's a lot of great things we could do. If we could make sure we do what we have very, very well, then going forward, we can hopefully do other things equally well as well.
I agree with that approach.
Yep. That's kind of the direction.
Pushed is because you expand all you want to, you can't do what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
The maintaining has not been existent. Perhaps in those comments it's better suited for a different environment than this. But to the point of some of the things that's mentioned in the checklist, as of yesterday, many of those things are not being completed, and it's a disservice to the recreation programs and to the county. And I would like to see us continue to revisit this monthly.
Okay.
And perhaps maybe in a different setting where there's some things that's of great issue and concern that needs to be addressed and dealt with.
Sure. Okay.
Well, all of us agreed when the county took this on, we did not want it to go back to the way we took over. And there's a few things that have to be straightened out, or it's going to take that. And now's the time, not later.
Well, I do feel like we made a commitment to the town, on the town side, everything over to us.
Yes, sir.
We were going to take care of things, so if I haven't been up there, but there's a pandemic year, so the numbers, it may look good to him. 4 or 5 years ago, when I was still on the rec authority, we had over 500 kids in spring ball. That was t-ball, baseball, softball. And 42 teams out of those. So I mean, and at the time we thought we could improve that, because the numbers were at school. So, but it's a pandemic year. I'm sure there's parents that don't want their kids to be involved because of that. So I mean, that's understandable. But we made it work then with the fields we had.
Exactly. And to both Mr. Ruth and Mr. Yoder's point, I know we all worked very hard, even though our vision may have been different on the recreation. I personally, and I know other members of this board did, met with council members to try to get this thing to a resolve. And I feel like that, I'm partially on the hook for that. And with 2 of those council members, and it's not going pleasing currently. And I just don't want to see it get too far, Mr. Booth's point, in the reverse direction. We've been entrusted and really worked through a very very fractious environment to get this to a good result.
But there has been
improvements.
There's been some,
Yes.
there are some good things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a process.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think that you'll learn more about, as we go along, you'll learn some of the good and bad. It'll be good.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, thank you. We'll do this we'll get a monthly report and continue this conversation. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
No problem. And some of the other things I just wanted to bring to your attention, I put under customer service data, but I'm not sure that was right. I did, you have in your packets some of the data, but just wanted to bring to your attention the level of work that's going on, or at least the level of activity that's going on in some areas. So even though social services is not under county administration, you will note that under the Medicaid element, we are at the highest numbers of active Medicaid cases and total Medicaid clients that we have had this year. And so just wanted to kind of candidly give a shout out to the staff downstairs that are continuing to work through all that. And I will say my personal interactions with those folks are, despite all the challenges that they face, they've been really extremely positive, and so really wanted to give them some kudos about that. Two other sets of numbers I wanted to share with you is, of course, you have in here the numbers from EMS, and excuse me. We have on our agenda kind of major items to start working on is doing a little bit better. We're doing a lot better with scheduling and some other issues. But I asked Myra to go back and look at the numbers, and the number of essentially the total items. So for emergency medical, all levels of what they do, whether patient treated or released, transported or not, has increased 11% from where it was last year. And rescue has seen, even though their numbers, of course, are substantially smaller, they have seen an even greater percentage increase. So the level of activity continues. And talking anecdotally to our staff, there are many drivers to that. Some of it is still COVID related, candidly, not necessarily people who turn out to have COVID, but people who have some symptoms that they would like somebody to tell them whether or not they have COVID, and that's a fair portion of the calls. So we're looking at some different things to do there, but wanted you to be aware of that.
And the volunteers, it's a combination of things that's brought. I think their leadership is improved and their membership is improved. So I think we should recognize that they are putting forth much more effort and
Sure, there's a huge amount of effort goes on, and related to EMS. The new ambulance is now undercover.
Noticed that.
Yeah, okay. So, and Phil gave his apologies. He's been out on leave, and so he said one of the hang-ups was that there's a particular set of permits that apparently only he is allowed to apply for. The other part of the hang-up has been actually doing the things to get that into service. And it has, even though it would be nice to have had it inside earlier, of course, as you all know, there's not any extra space, and they have to keep anything that has a drug box in it inside.
Yeah.
So just
I think that's why we just suggested that they weren't up to the service department.
Or get it out.
Yeah, the optics were not good.
Correct.
I think people love seeing it go down the road. I don't know if they like seeing it just sit.
Sure. The other set of data I wanted to bring to your attention is the permit numbers, and of course they may have been driven down previously by COVID, I don't know, but just to kind of let you know what kind of unsung heroes Mark and Alicia have been. So if you look at the permits issued, total permits issued last year was 145. This year is 214, which is a 47.6% increase with the same number of staff. And there are very few 10-minute spans during the day when there is not someone either sitting out there filling out a form, talking to one of the staff, and Mark's got ear almost all the time, and is doing a ton of work. So I just wanted to let you know about that. A couple other real quick things. Kevin has gone out and done an inventory of all of our vehicles that are sitting around and deteriorating, ones we are not using, both here and at the transfer station. And so we have an inventory of everything we have. I know he's talked to some of the folks in the sheriff's office about what do they want to do. There's one of the vehicles that's out sitting on top of the landfill that I think Cheryl would like to keep for parts because they actually match with some of the other vehicles they have. But other than that, we'll start looking at how to best dispose of those. We've clarified that we can go ahead. There's no reason we have to keep all of them. And now the question kind of becomes, Kevin's looking into for us, some of the vehicles were so deteriorated, we're almost wondering if we can go ahead and sell them directly for scrap. Or none of them have been, to the best of our knowledge, well, the most recently cranked was 7 years ago for the ones we're looking at.
If you watch the traffic on the road, apparently scrap metal is very good.
Yeah, it sure is.
You can see cars that look like they've been sitting in the woods for 50 years.
Yeah, they sure have.
So we will pursue with that, as financially and legal. Yeah. So we'll do that. 3 other really quick announcements, one I really like. One is, of course, the housing training. We're required to have housing training related to the affordable housing project, CDBG affordable housing projects. So those are scheduled at the end of the month. And anyone who wants to be a part of being a contractor has to participate in those. So make sure you let folks know. The library is not necessarily just our library, but the regional library is getting a mobile unit, and they're going to unveil it June 25th in a special ceremony from 3 to 5 in Christiansburg.
That's right.
But that of course will be used across the region. And most exciting of the announcements is we received our first allocation of American Relief Fund money.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising and shocking. When I filled out the stuff, I didn't think it would come that quick. So we now have an additional $1,529,559.50 in our bank account related to the American Relief Act. And Cindy's gone ahead and set up all the accounts and all those kind of things already. So when we get the finalized guidance from Treasury or from Sands Anderson, we'll start moving forward with rolling that out. Our first reporting period will be, we have to report something in August about how we are expending funds. So that's our first federal report.
Exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's an entirely online process.
Wow. Nice.
You have a real ID and all that kind of stuff, but it didn't take more than 15 minutes to turn this up.
How long between you doing that and then receiving the money? What was it like?
Maybe a week and a half, maybe.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was over the holiday.
They said that pretty streamlined.
Get rid of that money.
Yep, sure enough, a lot of things to do. Can't wait to see the guidance.
Yeah, devil's in the detail.
Yep.
And I think I mentioned to you all before that Sands Anderson is going to help us with kind of figuring out in advance of spending money what we can spend.
Good.
And then based on that, I'll put out the grant stuff.
Good.
Well, Mr. Chair, that is all that I have. I know it's, it's only 2:12.
Only 2:12.
We're more fun, and that's most good.
One question, but I can ask it
Go
after
ahead,
you
go ahead.
adjourn. Now that we've approved the budget and got everything set up, and I know we've got the shell building and all that, when can we expect something on the building at the rec park? And this does not have a bar on it at all, I promise you. There's just some interested parties wondering what time frame we're looking at on that. Has Mark done any more on it, or is there up to us?
I kind of think we're to a point, and maybe this is something that we can, if it's all right with you all, discuss in more detail at another meeting, and we can have Mark here. But, he's done some initial sketches and things, and we can go with that, or if you all feel the need to actually have an architect, that may have been a discussion you all had before. I don't know, but we can go from there. The challenge, of course, is, we've asked the same person to design that we just said had a 47% increase in activity for other things, so.
I understand that, but I also, you did mention that Medicaid part, in that part of it.
You're right.
And I think there's authorization for another employee, you just don't have a place to put it yet, so.
Night meeting.
Yeah. Well, whatever, I'm just, and I kind of put you on. I was just looking at some kind of time frame, that's all, nothing definite, just some kind of time frame, and it's, I know you're already doing like this, so I just throwed something else in the mix.
So I will follow up on that, and we'll bring something back that's all right to the next meeting about where we are. I know Mark has shown me some drawings, and then he's also brought me some doors to decide which doors we want.
There you go.
Doors.
Ready for a motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Move to